to black up. That's the only way I'm going to let you in through the door, because I want this to be, I want this to be a multicultural event, and I don't want it to be, you know, like the resolutely middle class, so lots of working class people I want there, and toffs, you know, poshos as well, like you, Ruth.
Thanks.
More than welcome, mate, to come
Do
down.
I get a little pen, kind of a pen for just posh toffos to kind of posh toffos?
Toffos, yeah.
I used to wander around in top hats and kind of just wander around a little pen.
Oh, you see, I thought you meant a sort of novelty pen, like a souvenir pen.
No,
Steve Fest 2009.
Very much a kind of area, very much an area of social exclusion in which you can go if you're very, very posh.
Would you prefer that to be, would you like a sort of ivory tower? We will actually build a tower from ivory.
Oh, that would be good.
And you can, and you and all your posh friends can queue up. It's only room really for one.
Yeah.
And you climb up to the top, and you can sit in your ivory tower, looking down on the working classes.
That would be wonderful. If we could make many of the things that the Steve Show has stood for the last year and a half real at Steve Fest, then I could actually have my own very posh ivory tower with no proles allowed nearby.
Yeah.
Oh, and one at a time, you could just, as you say, stand right at the top, just look out for a bit, and then just come down again, and someone else can have a go.
Concern, Steve, is that we often make reference to the Steve Show listenership taking a lot of crack.
Yes.
Now, obviously, if we arrange a festival, we don't want too many crackheads there.
No, that's true. That's true.
Because that would encourage a high police presence.
Yes.
Which is always a dampener on a good time.
Well, you say that, but again, we are trying to be the very antithesis of Glastonbury.
Well,
so
maybe law and order is the.
I want absolute law and order.
Yeah.
I want a very heavy-handed police presence. I want policemen on horses, sometimes trampling people underfoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And perhaps sort of going around checking each night that the people in the tents are the people who should be in their tents.
Yes, exactly.
You're not in your own tent.
Right.
Get out.
Exactly. So if you've just met a girl and she's all pilled up, and you think, oh yeah, I fancy you. No, go back to your own tent.
How about some proper courting? Maybe write her a letter after Steve Fest.
Exactly. Please
just drag her back to your tent.
Arrange to meet. And none of this playing a guitar, at 2 a.m, or some little tent playing electroid music, and I can't get to sleep.
Shut up.
It all finishes at 11.
Yeah.
Lights off. Everyone in bed by 11. That's it. No more fun. No more talking. Lights out. You can enforce that. I want to see Boris Johnson down there. Right? He's down there.
Does he have to black up?
No, he's welcome to come in. He can just wear one of those sort of those hats with the dreads on it, like Prince Charles did when he went to the Notting Hill Carnival. And he's going to be there. He's going to be introducing the bands, but he's also going to be telling us about how we can stop crime and also how we can tidy up London streets.
Yeah, there'd be no tie-dye either. Absolutely nothing tie-dyed, and no henna tattoos. People would have the Steve Show and Steve Fest actually tattooed on their bodies.
Exactly.
That's their pass out.
Yeah. But you thought that you thought it was tough to get into Glastonbury last year. It's going to be twice as tough to get into Steve Fest. Yeah. It's going to be so much hard work. There's going to be retina scans. There's going to be people trying to sneak in like illegal immigrants. There are people going to be like hiding underneath trucks as they rumble in. Yeah. There's going to be people sneaking in. There's going to be like midgets on top of midgets wearing long coats trying to pass themselves off as one person. It's going to be really tough to get into Steve Fest. It's a very exclusive event. If you've got things that you'd like to see at Steve Fest, let us know. Here's the contact thing.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
I mean, we haven't even begun to discuss what kind of entertainment's going to be on, so we'll get to that after we've heard a musical choice from Sammy.
My musical choice this week are a band hailing from Sheffield. They're called 65 Days of Static. They're a bit different, not my normal taste. My friend put them on a compilation for me and I really, really enjoyed them. And this is off the 2005 EP Hole, and it is the title track, Hole.
Thank you. That's Sammy's musical choice on this week's Steve Show. What was it, Sammy?
That was Hole by 65 Days of Static. They do get a little darker than that. I just thought I'd play something a little lighter on the radio. Just like to ask my dad, could you erect my trampoline, please, before you go on holiday? Because I would like the trampoline erected. Thank you, Dad.
Good. No, I'm pleased that you're using the national airwaves for that information.
It's definitely the best place to do it, Steve.
Not the mobile phone.
Big news, Steve, unfortunately. Putting on festivals, you can't just do it. It's big business, lots of people involved, contracts and what have you. Naming rights, important. We've had an email from a Stephen who has his own Steve Fest.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he apparently set it up for his 30th birthday in 2006. 2007 they were struggling to find a venue, and they're not doing it this year either. But he does own the rights to the domain name stevefest.com front page with nothing else there. But I think we're going to have to go into negotiations with this guy.
Right, I want you to negotiate with him right now. You can get onto that.
Yeah, I'll email back.
I'm also going to want emails and texts from you, the listeners. I want you to tell me, even if we have to change the name, this is still going to go ahead. All right, this is the antithesis of Glastonbury. It's entirely about me. There will be a giant inflatable me, right? That's way. You know how sometimes when you watch the festival, someone will just start throwing a bouncy ball or something around, and it also sometimes bounce onto the stage, or the people at the front will be bouncing it. There'll be a giant inflatable me that will be carried around by the audience that will obscure the stage at all times. So even if there's entertainment on that stage, you will not be able to see it. You will just be able to see a giant inflatable version of me. I mean, that's just the way it works. I'm afraid that's what Steve Fest is all about.
And all the flags will have witty quotes from the show.
Witty quotes from the show, and when they run out, probably Oscar Wilde, stuff like that.
That'd be nice.
You know, because it's highbrow stuff as well. There'll be lots of readings. But people, you know, so for instance, you know, when Chanel from Big Brother, you know, I think was in Big Brother last year, she's probably going to put out an autobiography. She's welcome. Come along. She can read out pages of that.
Yeah.
You know, or I don't know, is Iggy Pop put out an amusing book for Christmas? You know, it's sort of amusing, or recipes or something. He can come along and read out from that. So it's going to be a very civilised event. That's the key thing. Civilised is the word.
I like the idea of some sort of, I don't know how you do it, a big field that's essentially a kind of living crossword. I'm going to have to put some more thought into
Please do, but you
during the next song.
You've got to negotiate about Steve. So you definitely want to go ahead.
Get back to this guy.
Get in touch with us. Let us know what you'd like to see, because what we haven't really talked about is which bands are going to play. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can do it.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
What acts would you like to see there, Ruth?
I'm trying to think. I'd just like it to be more like the Hey on Wye Literary Festival, really.
Okay.
A series of heavyweight novelists like Salman Rushdie and V.S. Naipaul locking horns
Sure.
on the current issues surrounding the Middle East and so on today.
But maybe in order to give it a flavour of other festivals, they could do it while sort of in mud.
Yeah,
so maybe Rushdie and Naipaul in wrestling in mud.
I said locking horns. I didn't say metaphorically locking horns. I think we should dress up Naipaul and Rushdie in kind of preposterous Minotaur costumes.
Sure, yeah.
And then get them to just run at each other on a massive stage.
So last year when we were at Glastonbury, we saw a lot of people. It was very muddy. They were just diving in the mud, weren't they? Face first, sliding. Or someone had a little dinghy that they were just sliding around in. We've got you know, maybe J.K. Rowling's come down.
Yeah.
She's just, you know, in the beginning, she's flashing her boobs at the stage during a concert. Then she's just locking horns. She's wearing a giant Minotaur outfit, locking horns with perhaps, I don't know, Jamie Oliver, another best-selling novelist.
Maybe we could reignite all the rivalries of the last few years. Didn't Martin Amis and someone have a bit of a spat?
That's
recently?
right. Yeah.
And Rushdie will get Rushdie involved, and we'll get them all just to physicalise their kind of namby-pamby letters to the Guardian. You know,
sure, but suddenly they're going to physicalise it. But what? So Richard Dawkins, the Archbishop of Canterbury,
definitely
in mud, just going head to head.
Yeah. Naked as they were born.
And what else you'd have, of course, is a field, and around the perimeter, just quiz machines. Just pub quiz machines. You'd have the old telly addicts. Yeah,
I love a quiz machine.
Brilliant.
That'd be great. And but they're £5 a go.
Yeah,
and none of that money is going to charity. So get in touch with us. Let us know what you'd like to see at Steve Fest 2009.
Yeah.
2009. Thank you.
BBC.
The Who were at Glastonbury last year when we were there live with the show, but we didn't see them, you may recall, because we left early to beat the traffic, and that's Baba O'Reilly. So we are very excited. We're talking about Steve Fest 2009. That name, of course, pending. We're not sure yet if we can use that. May have to be called Merch Fest or Merchantbury. Merchantbury. Does that work? No.
Not really.
Merchival? Steveable. We'll keep thinking. But we're asking for your suggestions of what you'd like to see there. Remember, it's going to be a civilised affair. It's going to be not like the kind of muddy quagmire that Glasgow so often can turn into. We are going to pave a field with concrete, and you are going to not even have tents, actually. Maybe caravanettes. I want caravanettes. Or you can sleep in your car. Or maybe build tiny... Well, actually, maybe we should have it in a hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe that makes sense.
Well, maybe to avoid, we remember we left Glastonbury early, as you say, and missed the Who because we didn't want to miss the traffic. Maybe there would be a way of everybody getting a slot to arrive and leave.
Okay.
So that there wasn't some massive
that's
entry
good.
and then some awful exodus at the end with
That's a
hundreds of
perfect
thousands of people
idea.
trying to
That's an absolutely excellent idea. Yeah. So you get allocated, and bad luck if you miss Amy Winehouse. But
Exactly.
you should have bought your
It
ticket
never
earlier.
really begins and never really ends. It just continues over 3 days. And
Yeah.
You can arrive and leave at any stage during that time.
And so maybe there's obviously there's an entry point and an exit point,
Yeah.
and it's a constant sort of a bit based on maybe that like the North Circular or
Yeah.
what's the Spaghetti Junction, something like
Of
that.
course, the problem is at festivals, people can do what they want. You're getting away from the man. You're doing what you want, but it creates chaos, as Ruth says.
Yeah.
Everyone tries to leave at the same time. If people are told what they can actually
Exactly.
do, if someone's gone to the bother of sorting out a proper plan so
Yeah.
it runs well,
Right.
that's got to be better.
And so the man in this instance, of course, me, obviously it's named after me. I'm very much there. There's a giant version of me, but there's also there will be a fence, so there's no ne'er-do-wells, but we'll also have barbed wire at the top, and I don't know what the legality of having sort of machine gun posts is. Is that I don't know
I
what
think we can link that with the ivory tower idea.
Okay, good.
And have posh people in top hats with heavily armed with automatic rifles.
Sure, and they just pick off any plebs they don't like the look of.
Maybe.
Perfect.
Not putting any of this in stone.
Hey,
It's all
listen,
just ideas.
We're just blue skying at the moment. We're just
Yeah, yeah.
brainstorming, okay?
Yeah.
Before we get to your suggestions for what you'd like to see at Steve Fest, obviously we have musical choices from the gang here, but we also let you, the listeners, get in touch. We want you to recommend tunes to us that maybe we're unfamiliar with, songs you've not heard on the show before, but you feel that we or the listeners may enjoy. And someone who's done that is on the line now. Hopefully, it's Nick. Nick, are you there? Press the button for us there. Nick, are you there? Is that Nick?
Hello?
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 No, this is
Okay.
just embarrassing. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. We've got it. Hello?
Hello?
Nick, thanks for calling.
How's it going?
So you can hear me okay?
I can hear you, yeah, I've heard all of that.
Perfect. You're not at Glasgow?
No, I don't think I would like to be, actually.
Really? That's it. That's good to hear. You're just, what, just not your bag?
Well, I don't know, I like bands, I like music, but yeah, the camping, the mud. You're in it for 3 days. Once you're there, if you get a bit bored, you've got to wait it out,
Very true. That's another good point. If you're very bored, you've got to wait it out. So, or I'm just because we're just talking about Steve Fest at the moment. What I'm just trying to think whatever we can do to make it more comfortable for people. Bunk beds.
Yeah.
I quite like the idea of the hotel, actually, because then you could potentially, I suppose, have it piped through onto the TVs in the rooms, so you don't necessarily need to leave your room
That's
or even
fantastic.
interact with other people.
That's a joy, because that's another thing I dislike, the interacting with other human beings.
Well, that goes hand in hand with my idea. I think you should you have to come alone. You're not allowed to speak to other people, and you leave alone, and that keeps everything nice and isolated. Less trouble. You're not going to be riotous with other folk. I think that would work.
I do love the idea of Nick's idea, though, that you don't have to associate people. You're just in your hotel room. It's piped into your room on the TV, that sort of TV screen they have in the hotels. They pipe it in. Perfect. Often called hotel radio or hotel TV.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Not only does it tell you about the spa facilities, but you can also see, I don't know, the Hoosiers.
Yeah. The problem I often have at festivals is that I don't get a newspaper in the morning.
Right.
Whereas if it was done on the lines of a hotel, I could have my FT there in the morning, and I'm not missing out on the day's news.
When you were at Glasgow last year, did you at any point get room service?
No.
Well, no, we did because we stayed in a hotel. We should just point that out. But once we were on site, never saw
No.
it.
Who's looking after us? No one.
I rang a bell. I heard no one. Okay, so that's a great idea, Nick. Anyone else? Anything else? What sort of entertainment would you be looking for?
I suppose the point of the festival is the music, so, just be that, really.
Yeah, you just be there for that. But any kind of music in particular that you like?
Just a big range, really. I think new music is what I'd really like to hear.
That's a good idea. Actually, the Steve Show's all about new music. We'll only have bands that you've never heard of. It's so new, this music. Actually, some of these bands that we're going to have at Steve Fest are so new, they've never even played together before. They're just people who've just come in on the train. Some of them brought guitars and drums. They just make up a name as they're issued with a name as they walk in the door, and they're forced to play. They're given a slot, and they are forced to play. Okay, so now, Nick, you got in touch with us because you wanted to champion a particular band in which band was it?
It's the National.
Okay, now I think we have played the National before. Did you come across the National thanks to our show or anything else on Sex Music?
I came across the National thanks to Guy Garvey's show, actually.